This is section 2.1. We're going to talk relations and functions. The start of unit 4 here. Our objective of this section is to graph relations and identify functions. Okay, so we've got two words in there that are very important that we're going to have to make sure that we understand what they mean and we know what they mean here. Okay, and that's relations and functions. Okay, so a relation is a set of pairs of input and output values. Now, a little bit easier said, it's a set of pairs. Essentially, a relation is a set of ordered pairs. Simply put, okay? Ordered pairs. You can represent a relation in 4 different ways, okay? Now, most commonly, the way relations are represented is ordered pairs, an XY ordered pair, okay? You can represent them by a mapping diagram, okay? And the mapping diagram, the input is the X value. The arrow goes to the number that it has its Y value with. So in this case, this would be the ordered pair -3, 4, because the X value goes to the value of 4. This would be the ordered pair 3, -1. This would be the ordered pair 4, -1, and 4, 3. The arrows show how to pair each input with each output, okay? You could use a table of values to represent a relation, okay, where you have the X values in the left column, the Y values in the right column, or you could have them from left to right where the X is on top and the Y is on the bottom. Or the fourth way to represent a relation is just by plotting the ordered pairs, graphing them, okay? So there's 4 ways to represent a relation, and you're going to have to represent all 4 different ways here as we look at these problems, okay? So, from a relation, we're going to have to determine, is this relation a function? Well, what's a function? A function is a relation in which each element of the domain corresponds with exactly one element of the range. Now, there's some vocabulary there, again, domain and range, which we're going to talk about, but simply put, means each X value has exactly one Y value. For example, if your X value was 3, your Y value was 1, 3 can only go to 1. 3 can't go to multiple numbers. And you'll see here in an example in just a second, okay, what that means. Now, as we look at these, tell whether the relation is a function or not, okay? So, as we look at this, what you're trying to identify is every X, you can only use each X value once, okay? You can only use each X value once. If you're using the X value 2 times, then I'm sorry, you're not a function. So, letter B here, let's take a look here at the first one, letter B. -2 goes to -2, 1 goes to 0, 2 goes to 2, and 2 goes to 3. So, if I were to write these out as ordered pairs, okay, if I were to write these out as ordered pairs, you'll notice the X value 2 goes to 2 different numbers. So this is not a function. And the reason for the explanation is that 2 cannot go to 2 and 3. It can only go to one of them. Okay? So in this case, that's not a function. Now, let's take a look over here at letter A. We have -2 goes to -1, -1 goes to 0, 3 goes to 0, and 6 goes to 4. And if you were to list these out as ordered pairs, -2, -1, -1, 0, we've got 3, 0, and 6, 4. Now, if you look at your X values here, you look at all these X values, are there any X values that repeat? No, there's not. There's none of these are used more than once. So this is a function. It's a function because each X goes, each x goes with exactly one y value. Okay, so you're going to have to be able to identify, is the relation a function? Okay, again, as we look at this set of ordered pairs here, is the relation of the ordered pairs that I've given you there a function? Well, as you look, you notice 0 is used more than once in the x value, so this is not a function. Again, because 0 cannot go to 0, 2, and 5. Can't do that. Is the relation given by the ordered pairs a function? Over here on the right, you'll notice you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0. None of those x values repeat, so this is a function. Okay? Now, they use the words domain and range in your examples earlier. Domain and range are really fairly easy. The domain of a relation is the set of inputs, also called the x-coordinates of the ordered pairs. The range is the set of outputs, also called the y-coordinates. So really, domain is the x, range is the y. Okay? So they're going to ask you identify domain and range of a relation. So I give you the set of ordered pairs here. And the domain is the list of x values. So the x values are -3, 0, 2, 9, and 23. That's the domain. The range is the list of y values, which is 14, 7, 0, -18, and -99. Now, it is possible that they'll ask you to identify, is this a function? Well, as you look at your x values written down, you'll notice that you don't have any x values that repeat, so this would be considered a function. Okay, next example down here. What are the domain and range of this relation? As you look, domain, again, domain is the x values. So we've got 0, 4, -3, and -4. And the range is the y values, which is 4, 0, -4, and -3. Okay? So they're going to ask you to be able to identify the domain and the range as well. Okay, so in order to figure out from a graph whether something is a function or not, because they're also going to give you these in graphs as well. It says you can use the vertical line test to determine if something is a function or not. The vertical line test states that if a vertical line passes through more than one point on the graph, the relation is not a function. And you can see that from this picture here. This blue part is your graph, and they've drawn a vertical line, a straight up and down line, and you'll notice that the vertical line hits the graph more than once. If it hits the graph more than once, it's not a function. Okay? So let's take a look here at the bottom. If you were to draw a vertical line down each one of these ordered pairs, you'll notice it only hits, and you can draw a vertical line through any part, it only hits a dot one time. If it hits more than one dot at a time, then it's not a function. But in this case, it only hits one dot, so this is a function. And why is it a function? Because it passes the vertical line test. Okay? Over here on the right, letter B, you'll notice if I draw a vertical line over here, how many dots does it hit? Well, this time it hits 2 points on the same vertical line. Therefore, this is not a function. I could also draw a vertical line here, and you'll notice again it hits 2 points. That can't happen. So it's not a function because it fails the vertical line test. Okay? So this is part 1 of section 2.1, relations and functions. Don't forget to take a look at part 2 as well. We start talking about function notation.